Hello, everybody. FAI here, or I here, and welcome back to another Accureye Talks video. And in today's Accureye Talks video, I thought we'd talk about my thoughts about Call of Duty Warzone and is it impacting Fortnite and Apex Legends? Well, I mean, it's kind of obvious that right now with Warzone out and the new hype around it, yes, it is impacting the game entirely, and it is impacting who's playing it, the interest, and also just the draw to the game. Personally, I do believe that for now, this is going to be a bit of a big hit for games like Fortnite and Apex Legends, but I think it'll impact Apex Legends more than it'll impact Fortnite. While Fortnite is going downhill, and we are seeing a downhill trend on the game, I just don't think Fortnite will be impacted as much as it is intentionally thought it would be impacted. For instance, looking at the Twitch, the Twitch rankings right now from highest to low, Warzone, of course, is number one. At the time of recording this, Warzone is number one with over 213,000 viewers. And Fortnite is number 4 with over 63,000 viewers. So, I mean, while Fortnite is seeing some impact of loss of interest from people, I don't believe it's really impacting the game as high as it should or as high as it really is going to. I just don't believe, Fortnite is going to be impacted that much by the by of course the viewers, and I just don't see people wanting to get away from Fortnite. Like those who like Fortnite, especially people who are really loyalists to Fortnite, I just don't think they will sway away from Fortnite. Whereas, people who are going to watch Apex Legends, may sway away from Apex Legends. I mean, right now, as it is, Apex Legends is around like the 10th place or so. And, I mean, that's quite an impact. I mean, before it was like 16th when I was talking to one of the people that I talked to before, and that is a huge impact on just how the game is reacting to people. Personally, I mean, I don't like Fortnite or Warzone at all. I personally am not a fan of Call of Duty Warzone. I think it's just not good, and I think it's just too many buttons to remember. I mean, I hate complicated games that have loads of buttons to remember. This is just my personal impact on the game and my personal thought process with the game. But, I mean, when it comes down to it in general, I just don't see Fortnite or Call of Duty Warzone really being my type of game. It's easy to master. It's easy to calculate for certain aspects and certain, impacts in the game. But I think, honestly, it really is translated to a game that, to me, has too many buttons, and it's complicated on the buttons. It has way too many buttons to remember. I mean, for instance, if you want to crouch, you have to press C on Warzone. If you want to prone, you have to press left Alt, or left Control, should I say, on Warzone. And to me, it's like, why couldn't left Control be on crouch and then press it again to prone? I mean, why does, prone have to be its own separate button? I mean, and to me, it's just like, I don't like that, that it's like that. And I don't like that, Warzone has to act like that when it comes down to it. I prefer games that are hard to master, but have simplified buttons. For instance, like Call of Duty or Counter-Strike Go, CSGO. It has very, very simple buttons, but it's very, very hard to master. And because it's very, very hard to master, because it requires some good, mechanics and good skill level to master it and confidence to play it, to me, that really is some game that I personally enjoy. And it's a game that I personally enjoy playing. But when it comes down to it, I just don't see something like Call of Duty Warzone being for me because, like Warzone, you have to think about all the mechanics. You have to think about the small little aspects of the game to really make it a, decent game. And I just don't think that it really has, good game mechanics overall. And I really don't think that the mechanics are not complicated to the point where I wouldn't enjoy it or to where I would enjoy it. I mean, that's the thing about, like, the game in general is, like, it's just so complicated to me that I don't really enjoy the game at all. And I think that, personally, it's just a game that I'm not happy about. So, because it is a game that I'm just not happy about, well, why should I, waste my time on that game? Why should I, try to put effort into trying to master all these complicated, like, 20 or so buttons? And, that's the problem for me, is that it's just not, it's just too many buttons to really remember. And it's too much to really, put into play for me. So, I mean, because of that, yeah, it's just something that I think really doesn't play well for me. And I don't think it would play well for me. So, so of course, maybe, this is just my hot take on Call of Duty Warzone, and I'm totally the unpopular opinion, but I'm just not a fan of Activision and their direction with Call of Duty Warzone, because to me, it just doesn't feel like a good game for me. It just doesn't feel like something I would enjoy, or something I'm going to enjoy. So, at the end of the day, I personally would just rather not worry about playing Call of Duty. And I would rather play something that's, simplified on buttons. Like, for instance, Fortnite. It's not going to have a point of me, not enjoying the game, because it only has about, like, I don't know, 8 buttons to remember. And those 8 buttons to remember are not hard. They're going to be very, very easy to remember. And it's going to be simple on the hand to remember all these buttons. Whereas, like, but the mechanics, on the other hand, are very, very hard to master. They're very, very complicated to master. Whereas, for Warzone, it's very, very easy to master because it's very, very simple when it comes down to the basic mechanics and the basic thought process. But because it has so many complicated buttons, because it has so many buttons like kill streaks and everything like that, it's just so difficult to master, with its complication. And it's just not a... it just has too many buttons to have to remember. Like, you have to remember, oh, this button does this button does that, this button does whatever. And, for me, that's just way too complicated. That's just way too hard to remember it all, because it's not easy to remember all those buttons, all those basic things. And, that's why I think, for me, I like games that are simple when it comes to mastering the buttons and only having, like, a few buttons to remember. For instance, like I said, Fortnite only has about 8 buttons to remember, and those 8 buttons are easy to remember because part of them are on my mouse, part of them are on my hand. 5 of them are on my mouse, 5 of them are on my hand, or, 4 of them are on my hand, 4 of them are on my mouse. You know what I mean. So, it's very, very easy to remember those things. But the mechanics are where it gets a little more complicated. And personally, I enjoy that the mechanics are a little harder to master and a little harder to, recognize or even just, have some success for. So, that's just my hot take on, Call of Duty Warzone. Do I think that Warzone will have an impact on Fortnite? Absolutely, yes. I do think at the moment Fortnite is going to see some some repercussion, and some people who are not going to be interested in Fortnite anymore, because Warzone comes out and all of a sudden Warzone brings in this new element to the game. Because, I mean, again, it's basically 150 people going against each other versus having 100 people, or even just in case of Fortnite, or, not Fortnite, but Apex Legends, 60 people going against each other. So, I can see that more people are going to be interested in the 150 people format versus the 100 people format. But I still personally think that that's just, I think right now Activision is just trying to put more numbers into the game just so more people can play. It's not so much for the factor of, to make a game better than anything else. I think, personally, the 150 people format is kind of dumb, and it really doesn't bring in mechanics that are going to be substantial to the game. Again, I think personally, like I said, Call of Duty, it's easy to master. Anyone can master Call of Duty within a few days, in my personal opinion, because the mechanics are very, very simple. They're very, very arcadey, if you will. And if you will, the mechanics of Call of Duty are very, very arcade-like. They're not very, they're not very complicated. They're not like something that you have to think a lot about, and that's where most casual players are going to find interest in the game because, again, when it comes down to the interest of a casual player, they want something that's simple mechanically to play, but something that has maybe complicated buttons or a load of buttons because, let's face it, they want more buttons to use or more buttons to play with, and they want to use as many buttons as they can. And I don't fault people for that, but, I think, honestly, in general, we should see less focus on buttons and more focus on, the actual mechanical skill. Because I think mechanical skill is more important than having loads of buttons and loads of elements that are unnecessary. So, that's my take on it. I know I'm probably the most unpopular opinion when it comes to saying that I absolutely hate Call of Duty and I hate the way Activision is playing Call of Duty Warzone. But I personally think Call of Duty Warzone is just not good. And, that's my personal take. So, with that being said, thank you, everybody, for joining me on this video. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, you know what to do. Hit the like button, get subscribed, hit the bell notification, because I know you want to know when my next video drops next. Thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being here, and watching, the video. But I'm live on Twitch at www.twitch.tv/FA_EYE or I. I'm live on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Wednesday and Saturday, I'm usually live for about 4 to 5 hours, sometimes a little more. But lately, I've also been live on Monday and Tuesday. Monday and Tuesday are usually a 2 to 3 hour stream. And Thursday are usually a bit of a shorter stream, like 2 to 3 hours. But, with that being said, thank you, everybody, for joining me today. Thank you for watching this video. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know, like I said, this is the most unpopular opinion of Call of Duty Warzone, but I'm just that person who's going to say I personally hate Call of Duty Warzone, and I don't like Call of Duty at all. I just don't like the way Activision plays the game or, handles the game, nor do I like how the game is. So, that's just my personal hot take on Call of Duty Warzone. I know I'm probably one of the most unpopular opinions on the game, but I feel that that's just the way I'm feeling about, Call of Duty and any Call of Duty. And as it is with every Call of Duty that I've tried, it's always been the same. Nothing has ever changed. Nothing really has brought in a new element that I really have enjoyed, and it's all felt the same, since the last time I've enjoyed a Call of Duty, which was almost 13 years ago. So, yeah, with that being said, thank you, everybody, for joining me, and until the next one, everybody, I already said it already, but come join me on Twitch if you want to, live at www.twitch.tv/FA_EYE or I, and yeah, thank you, everybody, for joining me, thank you for watching, and until the next one, everybody. This is FAI or I signing out and saying farewell, everyone.